The veteran community is one of the most powerful, beautiful, encouraging, motivating things to be around and see. But there is a flip side to this community that is unfortunately incredibly dark, and it's probably affected each and every single one of you. People lying. You got your stolen valor folks, the groups of people that say things like, if you were in combat, you're the only person that's great, you're untouchable, you're almighty, you were so-and-so, you were special forces, you must be a great human. This manifests in many different ways. I received so many hateful comments when I started this company. People saying, oh, you're just another claim shark. Oh, you're just another this, another that, or whatever. They knew nothing about me. And so I hit a point when I realized that we wouldn't have 18,000 veterans who went through us last year to get the rating they deserve if that was the consensus. And why am I paying attention to these noisy comments? And so I stopped. I don't think people realize the impact that it has. Because if they did, they wouldn't do it. And I'm gonna be honest with you, probably 99% of the time it's projection. We recently had a customer reach out to us, a veteran, who had already gone through our platform, used us, and got a 100% rating. And they told me hey, are you still monitoring the comments on your TikTok? And I'm like, well, we try to keep up with them, but we don't quite monitor them that much. And he's like, well, there's a few that I think you need to take down. I was thinking that this was gonna be something, expletives, racism, Russian spies maybe, and not even the hot ones. And presumably it's veterans leaving these comments because it's a pretty niche world we live in. And the comment was, if you didn't go to combat, you don't deserve it. You're defrauding the VA, you're taking away from other veterans, you're wasting resources. What that tells me is that there's a veteran out there who feels so angry or mad at something that they want to leave a comment discouraging other veterans from getting help. For the veteran out there who has gotten out recently, or maybe they got out 50 years ago, they didn't go to combat, or maybe they did go to combat, but they didn't get grievously wounded, they are going to read a comment like that, and you have to think about what that's going to do to them psychologically. It then discourages them. It tells them that they're a bad person for wanting to get a VA rating. And so we have people discouraging veterans from getting help when we know that more than 22 vets a day are taking their life. I go back to my younger days when I first got out of the Army, and I was so angry. I was so angry at losing friends, not knowing who I was, at not knowing what I was gonna do, and having no skill. What am I gonna do now? And I took that on everything. I yelled at people who loved me for no reason. I was the biggest asshole. And I saw that, and that hurt me even more. And then I isolated. And I moved to a double wide trailer in the middle of nowhere. And that first one, thanks to the electrical fire, cost me most of my belongings. And I was homeless for about 2 months because I had no money and no job, no VA rating, no help. So it wasn't that my support system evaporated. It's that I was too scared for them to see who I was at that point. I had to go figure this out on my own. And I'm not alone in that. There are probably tens of thousands of vets out of the over 14 million veterans we have right now who are in a similar position. For some, that position lasts their whole life. And you people out there, you don't think when you post a comment like that the person who says, man, maybe if I could just get my VA rating, if I could just get this claim through, if I could get help for this, I would find stability. And you just discouraged them. You cared about voicing some opinion so that you could feel better about yourself. Congrats if you went to combat and you think that non-combat people don't deserve it. I can tell you personally, I'm a Purple Heart recipient. I went to Afghanistan. I was shot at, was literally blown up. Some of the most traumatic things that happened to me happened at Fort Bragg. Doors locked, blood coming under the door in the barracks, into our shared kitchen. My roommate himself. The third week I was at Fort Bragg. That was long before I saw Combat Chief. Oh yeah, that kid didn't deserve a rating for dealing with and seeing that. That veteran, they don't deserve compensation. By the way, they didn't let me move rooms. That story doesn't even start to touch on the amount of people that deal with MST. It doesn't start to deal with training casualties, training injuries, the injuries incurred in your daily life. I just cannot go into the amount of ways in which this thought process is wrong. As a veteran community, we cannot keep doing this to each other. Leaving those kinds of comments is reckless. It is dangerous. And so if you're leaving these comments, I can only assume you probably want the same. You want a weakened veteran community. You want your brothers and sisters to take their own lives. And if that's not what you want, then who cares how cool you are? If you are the dude that single-handedly jumped in and grabbed Maduro and was blasting Chief Keef on the way out, which if you are that dude, I want you on my podcast. But that doesn't invalidate the other people went through. But what I do care about is the way we are influencing our brothers and sisters in the veteran community. You cannot just be reckless with this anymore. You do not know the impact that you're gonna have when you leave a comment. And so drop something useful and helpful to transitioning vets in the comments below. That'd be a good start to what we need to change in the veteran community in 2026.